Hello, my name is Darkmoon Doll, and today starts the first part of the series of videos I'm going to do on this channel having to do with vegan and vegetarian cooking. So the first show, which is today, that I'm going to do is just a simple stir fry involving vegetables, rice, and a few herbs and spices, nothing really fancy. And this was in response to a viewer subscriber that requested me to create some videos on how to make simple vegan and vegetarian dishes. So I hope you enjoy the show. Thank you for watching. Hello, this is the first part of the stir fry recipe. It's going to be totally vegan, so I'm not going to, which means I'm not going to use any dairy products. I'm not going to use any meat. I'm not going to use honey either. So that's what this stir fry is about. So the first thing we're going to do is make the rice. What I'm using today is jasmine rice. You can use just about any brand. This one's jasmine rice, Golden Star. But I mean, just regular jasmine rice is good to get. You could use any kind of rice, really. You could use brown rice as well. I actually prefer brown rice to white rice, mainly because it's easier to cook for me, and because of the way it tastes. I like the chewiness of the rice. I like white rice too, but brown rice just kind of tastes better. So what we're going to do, see, if you've never made rice before, you can read the instructions, and they always come with instructions on the packaging. And even though I've made rice, not all the time, my husband usually makes white rice, and I usually make the brown rice. But I always look at the instructions on there every time I make it. So it says, in a medium saucepan, add 1 cup of Golden Star jasmine rice to 1 1/4 cup of water. So you're going to put it into like a medium-sized pan like this size. So a quarter, 1 1/4 cup. So it's 1 cup, and then a quarter cup. Cooking can be very easy, but some recipes just take longer to do because there's more steps involved. But you know, just think of it as meditation. Okay, so now we've got the water in there. Now what we need is the rice in there. How much rice was it? 1 cup of rice. So you could do in 1 cup of rice to 1 1/4 cup of water. Just open this bag. I like that nowadays a lot of the bags have a Ziploc type, sealable bag type deal. Makes it easier because sometimes if you don't seal up your grains well enough, you can get an infestation of moths. When I was working at this health food store, I don't know if I should name it. If you've seen my past videos, you know what I'm talking about. But they had a really bad infestation of moths because they didn't rotate their product. They had old product, and they had one person working the bulk station, and one person can do everything. So good idea to, if you don't have a bag of rice that has a sealable bag on it, just buy some storage bags, and that's how you can, seal it properly. Okay, so what's next? Now that we've got the water and the rice in the pot, see this? See the water and the rice in the pot. So next what we're going to do is what? Cover with a tight-fitting lid and bring to a full boil. Let me grab a tight-fitting lid somewhere around here in this household. So, a lid, tight-fitting lid, meaning a lid that won't have any air leakage out of it, because that can determine how fast or slow your rice will cook. I noticed that. And some of the lids will have these things on it like a vent. And I don't leave the vent open. That way, it cooks at the right time. I don't know if you've seen that vent. So, see. So yeah, I'll leave the vent closed. So I'm going to put the tightly fit lid on there. And now what do? You got to bring it to a full boil. So I'm going to put it on high and bring it to a full boil. While I'm doing that, I'm going to chop up some vegetables for the stir fry. So what we got to work with today is, at the grocery store recently, I bought some Brussels sprouts. See? I just consider them to be like little cabbages. Let's see. I'm going to use all of them up. And when I saute the vegetables, I use what's called a wok. It's like a gigantic, huge, deep pan where you can chop up all of your vegetables, and if you have a large quantity for your stir fry. Now, if you make a big quantity of stir fry, you can always take the leftovers and put it in a storage bag and save it for, you know, a dinner or a lunch. So being vegetarian and vegan can be very economical, especially if you're making your own meals and you're not relying on someone else to make your meals all the time. You grab my chopping board over here. So, got a chopping board here. So I've got one red onion here. I'm going to go ahead and use a whole onion. You don't have to use a whole onion. And if you don't like onions or garlic, the texture of it, you could always end up just using the garlic powder, or the onion powder. So that's always another option. The other vegetables I'm going to put in here is broccoli. So I've got some broccoli here. I'll show you. See, just got some broccoli. And I like this combination of veggies that I'm going to saute together because the flavors, I think, mix well together. So as you start cooking more and more vegetarian and vegan recipes, you start to figure out which vegetables you like that go together well. Some of these collards aren't looking too good. I might have to compost some of these. So sometimes that happens, and thank goodness I have a compost. When you see, if you see your veggies looking like this, like really dull, I wouldn't suggest eating them. Just compost them if you can. And sometimes that happens. But that's another way of not wasting if it goes faster. Sometimes with conventional stores, the shelf life on just about all kinds of food can be very short. Because a lot of times these conventional grocery stores, what they're doing is they're picking the fruit too early, and then they're putting it in cold storage and put them in boxes, and they're picking them when they're not ripe. So that can have a factor into how the quality of the vegetables over time, if they're sitting on the grocery shelf for a while and they've already been sitting in cold storage. So check it out. Our water's starting to boil, is it? Okay, I'll leave it alone. Let it boil first. Don't want to let the water overflow here. So I'm cutting up the broccoli. Let's see. And like I say, you can pick whatever vegetables that you like. When it comes to eating more vegetables in your diet, pick what it is that you like. Don't pick it just because you think, oh, this is good for me, and my mom said this was good for me to eat this when I was a kid. There's so many vegetables out there in the world that you don't have to just stick to one kind. You know, you don't have to stick to the popular ones. You can experiment, and that's what I like about a lot of like Asian cuisine. Chinese specifically, Japanese, and Eastern Indian cuisine is very, very fascinating because they experiment with different types of vegetables and fruits as well within their savory dishes. So I think our rice is coming to a boil. So what does it say for us to do next? After the rice comes to a boil, what you're going to do is lower heat to simmer. So we're going to let it simmer for 15 minutes. So we'll take it off the heat. This is perfect timing so we can get the vegetables going here. We're going to keep the heat, put the heat on low on the back burner, and then put it on like 4. Because what I'm going to do next is bring out the wok for the stir fry vegetables. So I'm going to grab the wok, and if this video ends, don't worry, there's more. Because I'm not really keeping track of how long of time I have on my camera, so in some 10-minute increments. So yeah, I'm just going to put the wok there. And you know what, I'll just end this right here saying what I'm going to do is let the rice simmer, and then once the rice is done, we'll go from there. But while yeah, while we wait for the rice to be done, I'm going to continue chopping up vegetables. And then when I come back, I'll show you what the vegetable looks like when I'm sauteing it in the pan. So stay tuned for that. So hello, I'm back. So we've got the rice on to simmer for 15 minutes. We still got some time to wait on that. I wanted to come back to show you what I'm going to put in the wok, and this is the wok. It's huge. I'm going to put, I'm going to use olive oil to saute the vegetables with. You can use any kind of other oil you want. You can use coconut oil. You can use canola oil. With coconut oil and olive oil, they'll burn faster, so at least in my experience. They'll burn faster, so you want to make sure you don't have it on too high of a heat. I have the heat on like at 4, but just make sure you don't have it on too high of heat. So I put a little bit of the olive oil on the bottom, not too much, just enough to saute the vegetables. Probably about 3 tablespoons of olive oil, to tell you the truth. So yeah, see that there, I don't know if you can see it. And I'm going to put the Brussels sprouts in there. Now I'm going to put the, see if I can take this off, see so you can look at it. We'll maybe bring you over. See it is so far. Okay, so Brussels sprouts, broccoli, onion, and I have one collard that I was able to use from that one batch of collards that wasn't altogether that great. There was one leaf. It was still good, so I'm going to put that in there, and I'm going to chop up this last thing of broccoli here. I find that when I go grocery shopping for fresh vegetables and fruits, if you don't use them right away, they go bad fast. So best thing to do, and I'm speaking from experience, and I'm trying to get better at it myself, the best thing to do is to process those vegetables right away and not delay on it, because it's fresh you know, plant material, so it's going to go bad faster than, say, you know, something that's in a box or something like that. So you want to make sure you keep things fresh if you can. If it looks like it's too far gone, don't use it, because it's just going to make you sick, you know. And don't worry about the fact, oh, I'm losing money, I wasted money. What you want to do is find a way to compost it. If you don't have a compost, find a friend or somebody that does compost, and that would help you with reducing, you know, food loss. So that's just some little tips there. So, and now I'm gonna add the onion in there. I don't think I'm gonna use the whole onion. Just a little bit. If you like onion, then use the whole thing. This is like a half of an onion. If you don't like onion, then don't use onion. Use garlic instead if you want. Use garlic powder. So, onion powder. Like I said, if you don't like the actual vegetable onion or the, well, I should call it a root. Vegetable root, whatever. If you don't like it, don't use it. You can use something else to substitute. And when you make these stir fries, it's all about finding what combination of seasonings and spices work with you. I don't like to be overloaded with too much, but I do like a little bit of spice, a little bit of saltiness, and a little bit of like sweet. So we're going to get to that in just a bit. So I'm going to throw these onions, red onions in there, and I'm going to show you what it looks like, since you guys are kind of in the dark right here, me doing my thing over here with the vegetables. So I'm going to bring you over here. So this is them. This is the broccoli, onions, and Brussels sprouts, and a little bit of collard greens. So I'm going to mix those and saute those up, and after those saute up, what are we going to do? I had to grab a spatula. After I saute these up, then the rice will probably be ready by then. What I'm going to do now to these sauteed vegetables, now that I got them all in the pan, it's over here. Now that I got them all in the pan and they're cooking, so as they're cooking, what I'm going to start doing is adding different spices and flavorings. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to take some honey, and it sounds weird, but in a lot of, I noticed that in a lot of Chinese cuisine, when they do stir fries, and they use honey as a sweetener. I'm not saying it's the only way of doing it, but it's something I observed. So, okay. So I'm gonna put I got some raw honey, and I like the raw honey better. It's like a wild honey. We get it at the grocery store. I finally got some really good honey in there. So I'm gonna use probably, I think, 2 tablespoons of honey into the stir fry. If you don't like your stuff too sweet, use only 1 tablespoon. You can season it to taste. So, and then, you know what, for a little bit of spice, I love honey. For a little bit of spice, whoops, I'm going to add a jalapeno pepper. So, if you don't like spicy foods, or if you like a little bit of spicy, then just don't add the whole pepper. Add like, to rinse my hands off, at that honey on it. Just add less than half of the pepper. Then it won't be too hot for you. But I'm going to cut up this jalapeno and put it into the stir fry. So there's a lot of people that are wanting to lose weight because the summer season is coming up and everything. Or people just want to lose weight just in general all the time because they feel that if their weight is lower, then they'll be able to get through life a lot easier. And that is true. With these kind of meals, they're very cleansing. And when you don't eat a lot of meals with a lot of really heavy foods in it, like cheese, you know, or meats, it can help your digestive system recover from all of the abuse you've done to it in the past. I talked about the way that I used to eat and how I've eaten in the past and all that, my dance with food and diet and all that kind of stuff. And I think that people just need to go at their own pace. You know, that's all I think. You know, if you eat meat still, that's okay. I don't judge anybody who's eating meat. I still eat fish occasionally, so, and that's the only meat that I eat. And I'll eat eggs every now and then, but mainly eating the eggs when it's cooked into something, you know. But that's about it. But yeah, take your time when you're trying to get healthy, you know, learn more about how your body works and what your body likes and doesn't like. So yeah, I put that 2 tablespoons of honey in there. Now I'm going to put some salt in there. If you don't like really salty foods, don't put a lot in there. Maybe put like 1.5 teaspoons of salt. I'm going to put about this much in there. That's how I measure it. It's about almost a tablespoon, but not quite. I don't know if you can see that. Sometimes I like to measure that way when I'm doing recipes like this. And I think it'll all even out the flavors because there's going to be a lot of vegetables in there. So this is coming along fabulously. So I want to keep it going until the onions in there get soft. And yeah, was there anything else that I wanted to put in there spice-wise that I can think of? I think this is enough. Oh no, I wanted to put a dash of organic tamari sauce. What it is gluten-free soy sauce. That's all this is. You can get regular soy sauce if you want. We got this at the store. It was on special for like $1.50, and this is usually really expensive. So always look out for those bargains. You know what I mean? You never know. When I worked at a health food store, I would see this stuff all the time, but I couldn't afford it, so I would just use regular old soy sauce. So a lot of people don't like to use soy sauce because they think that the sodium count is really high, and some people can't take a lot of salt in their diet. For some people, that make them retain water if they eat too much salt. So I try not to eat a ton of salt, because if I do, I feel the results. You know, my lips start to, like, you know, feel really painful and tender. They swell up a little bit, and yeah, it's not good. So yeah, let me show you what these vegetables look like instead of just yakking at you. Bring you on over to the wok so you can see what's going on there. So yeah, let me repeat it again what we got going on in here. We've got broccoli, we've got red onion, we've got Brussels sprouts, and we've got a little bit of collard greens. We also have 2 2 teaspoons of, or 2 tablespoons of honey, about almost a teaspoon, or almost a tablespoon, I would say, of salt, almost but not. And what was else? And a little, and also a dash of tamari sauce. So yeah, that's what we got going on in here, and it's looking good so far. And it's starting, the heat's starting to pick up on it. So when it does that, you just stir it. You stir it around so that the flavors will evenly combine. If you want it to, you can even put like a huge plate on top of it and just let it steam its way through to cook for the rest of the time. If you had another, like a main entree that you're going to cook with it, you could just let it sit to the side and let it steam. So yeah, that's how that's going right now. What I'm going to do is that very thing. I'm going to put this, let me bring you over here so that I can sit down. You're coming with me. Okay, can you see me? So basically what I'm going to do is I'm going to finish letting the stir-fry vegetables cook, and then I'll probably take them off the heat, put a plate on and let them steam so the onions get really good and tender, and then I'll check on the rice, and then I'll be back in a bit. See you guys soon. So this is the very final part of the vegetarian stir-fry, and this part is where I actually try out the meal and let you know how I think of it. And I'll show you the plate of it here if you can see it really good. There's broccoli, there's red onion, there's Brussels sprouts, there's carrots, that's something new I added to it, and then there's basmati rice, and I added tamari sauce. What else was it? It was tamari sauce, honey, a jalapeno pepper, and I believe that's it. Pretty much simple, and I'll give it a shot here. I like to get a little bit of all of it in there on the spoon, on the fork. If you want to eat stir fry with the spoon, you can. You can even eat stir fry with chopsticks. I have chopsticks, but I'm not good at it. So, bon appetit. Very good. Very flavorful. The jalapeno pepper is not too hot. So, feel free to try this recipe. I'll have some more recipes coming soon. Sorry it took me so long to put this video together because it's done in different video segments so that I can just combine it into one show. So yeah, it turned out really good, and I hope you try this, and I hope you try other vegetarian dishes and meals. Next week I'll try to bring to you guys another vegetarian dish. Maybe this time it'll be vegan, because I know I said I was going to make it vegan, but I put honey in this recipe, and honey isn't considered vegan, so yeah, the next recipe will probably be vegan. And like I said, you can leave some ideas for vegan and vegetarian dishes. I also wanted to mention something about something that a viewer and I think subscriber mentioned about eating vegetarian, vegan, or just eating vegan, and how to start. And you just start with the things that you like, as far as vegetables, fruits, grains. Just start with what you like, you know, and move from there. And the more fruits and vegetables you put into your diet, the more it just becomes easy to know which ones you like and which ones work with your body. This is a very cleansing meal because there's a lot of produce on it. There's a lot of broccoli, a lot of Brussels sprouts, carrots, onions, those kind of root vegetables, and brassica, I think you call those. Like the carrots, the cabbage and the Brussels sprouts and the broccoli. I think it's part of the brassica. Don't quote me on this family for veggies, but I might be wrong. I'll look that up. But those kind of vegetables get inside of your system, and they cleanse it out like kind of like a broom. Just sweeps out toxins in your body. So if you can't do like a cleanse where you juice, at least like try to go some days where you're eating tons of vegetables and not eating really a lot of heavy, dense foods. And that's how I noticed that I started losing weight like that. I wasn't trying to do it consciously, but I realized that when I ate certain foods, my body felt better and it worked better through the day. So I hope you enjoyed today's show. This is really a good meal. I'm going to finish the rest of it off of camera. And I hope that you guys take control of your health and try some recipes. I'm going to bring some books into the mix and let you know what kind of books I've gotten, my ideas from for cooking. Keep it interesting and fun too. Alrighty guys, thank you for joining me today. Thank you for subscribing to my channel. Thank you for the likes and shares. And thank you for your kind comments. There's a bird over there. So yeah, leave your comments down below and let me know some ideas of things that you like to eat that's vegan and vegetarian. So with summer coming up, it's going to be time for some salads. So alrighty guys, I'll see you soon. Peace.